Yeah, I think it's because I'm using a phone that I can't get the same like perspective you guys have.
We are
We're
live.
live. We're live, Clam.
There we go. Yay.
I can't hear you.
Because I haven't hit the magical button that says unmute. Okay, perfect. You still can't hear me?
We
Yes,
can
we can
hear
hear
you
you.
now.
Interesting. Okay, perfect. Oh, so we may just have to mute while someone else is talking. If your speakers are outside, you might just have to mute
Okay.
so
Okay,
there's not that feedback.
but we're live, folks.
Yay.
Okay. So hello everyone. Okay, perfect. Hello everyone. Welcome. So welcome to another behind the scenes. We're very excited about this afternoon. Oops, I still hear feedback.
Do you have anything on other than your computer?
I don't. How about now? Is that better?
Oh, we didn't hear your feedback. We only
Oh,
hear
I heard
you.
feedback. Okay, perfect. So we'll get our act together by the
Mhm.
third chapter. So just bear with us. Okay. So hello everyone. Hermione, we see you in the chat. Welcome. We appreciate each of y'all who waited and who are in the room. Definitely, please say hello to each other. Connect with each other. Hello, Delilah. Make sure we're connecting. We are very excited about this afternoon, and in some cases evening, very late evening, and in some cases very early morning. We have Armani on, and it's 2:45 a.m. I'm, of course, JC Calamity Jane. I am excited about who we have here today. We're going to let each of them introduce themselves. But today's topic is on sleep apnea. So if there's anyone in your life, if you are dealing with it, if a loved one's dealing with it, if a stranger's dealing with it that you happen to meet or a coworker, make sure you let them know and share this video with them about the impact of these medicines, GLP-1s and GIPs, on conditions such as sleep apnea. So with that, again, I want to welcome Harjarene, Joe, and of course Amy, and each of them are going to introduce themselves to you. So I'm going to toss things over to Amy real quick to do introductions, and then she'll get the party started, and we'll get the questions going. So thank y'all so much.
Hi, my name is Amy, and I have a YouTube channel called Amy Loses It, and I am on a journey to lose 180 pounds. I have lost about 38 of those to date, which is fabulous. So I think I may have taken my 37th or 38th shot on Saturday. I went on vacation and I just forgot everything I was doing. So I have struggled with sleep apnea since forever, and I just didn't know what it was. As a child and a teenager, I never slept through the night, and as an adult, things just got worse, and I suffered some very severe consequences of it. And I just want to kind of share my experience and my journey today.
Okay. Okay. And I'm Harjarene Annette, aka the Boss Way. I also have a problem with sleep apnea, and I am here today to share my um, condition.
Joe, you're on mute.
I forgot I was on mute. I was about to do my alarm note. Hey, it's me, Jay from Jay Sleep and Slim Down Journey. And that's why I'm saying it, because sleep is the most important part of my journey.
Mhm.
I've also got sleep apnea. I found out I had on the 4th of April of this year. And yes, I'm ready to talk about it. Ready to talk about it. Clam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'll do a brief introduction. Calamity Jane. I'm the resident type 1 diabetic, if anything, chicken lady and all the things. Um, while I have not been clinically diagnosed with sleep apnea, I do, it's something that many people in my family do deal with, and so this for me, this is an important thing as y'all share your journey, and then each of you share in the chat your journey as it relates to this particular condition. I'm excited about being able to share just the benefits and just the struggles and the conversations you have with your doctors, all the things. And so I'm really looking forward to sort of what this chat brings up. Similar to last time, we will have a series of questions, but we want to make sure, those of you in the chat are friends or supporters or cousins or let's see, who all do we have? Our divas or gentlemen, all the things. I think I'm slowly as people come in the room, I think I'm representing all the families, the
All of
one
the
community,
families.
all the families. Yeah, it's like we're a more benevolent Game of Thrones. We all like each other, right? but so definitely, as each of you have questions or want to share your responses to the questions we have, definitely do so in the chat. My goal will be to ask the question and then also post in the chat so y'all can also join in the fun. So anything, just any shout outs, anything y'all want to do before we get too far into the questions, ladies?
I just want to shout out Joe. She's been so great and so welcoming, and I've enjoyed her content so much. And the amount of weight you have lost, Joe, is unbelievable. I can see such a difference in you, and just overall, just watching you, how much better you're moving and getting around and doing things. Like the motivation you have now to just live your life. It's it's so it's just unbelievable. Like it's I don't know, it just makes me almost want to cry just thinking like how much better you are and how much little hope I kind of felt that you had, like you said, when you started this journey. So I'm just like over the moon at how well that you are doing. And I'm so glad you're sharing your journey with everyone. So
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
Amy, thank you.
yeah.
yeah.
Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry.
Oh,
And
it
your
is a
hair.
beautiful
Oh my
story,
gosh.
Joe.
I am so
It
in love with your hair. You have no idea.
Notice it is still blonde.
Well, yes.
My mum she clapped down and says
Uh-huh.
no, no
Oh
blue,
wow,
no.
no
Yeah.
blue.
She is completely against the blue. I thought she came on board with it.
Maybe you can get those get some extensions to play with every once in a while. Who knows?
That's
Yeah,
it. Just rock up one day with just that long blonde blue haired wig and see she
Do it.
accepts it. She does, and I'm dying
hmm right.
Well, perfect. Well, we'll get in on the first question. I feel like this is a downsizing diva type question. So if it is, Dee Dee, just you can you're welcome to claim it as one of your questions. But I feel like this is a Dee Dee, very much a Dee Dee type question. So I'm going to ask, if a good night's sleep had a superpower, what would it be, and how would it transform your daily happiness and wellness? So if a good night's
Wow.
sleep had a superpower, what would it be, and how would it transform your daily happiness and wellness?
Oh my
And we'll start with
goodness.
Amy.
I mean, for me, like, I think just the good night's sleep itself is the superpower. Like people don't understand. Like my sleep apnea is so bad, and even with the machine, I still really struggle for it with it. I probably need to have surgery on my nose. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people have a deviated septum. And I also like I was just outside for a couple of days sightseeing with relatives, and now like my allergies, I can't breathe. And I just feel miserable. Like it would just make me feel good. Like you don't understand, like getting a good night's sleep and get waking up rested and being able to go about your day and not feeling that by like 2 o'clock you just want to lay down on the floor because you're so exhausted because you have no energy because you're not getting oxygen to your brain. And like sometimes just the confusion and the can't think straight, but uh, there's so many things that happen when like you're not getting a good night's sleep or you're just not breathing properly. So yeah, like just actually having a good night's sleep like would change my world. So
We
yeah, and it doesn't happen very often. On rare occasions, I will take a Benadryl and that will help. But with people with sleep apnea, you should not be taking medications that make you sleep because you stop breathing. Even with your machine, you can stop breathing and you don't wake yourself up if you are taking medications to keep you asleep. It's very
oh
dangerous.
wow.
They actually
Oh,
make
what?
me hallucinate because I stopped breathing and then I've got lack of oxygen. So, like Tylenol PM, like any of the PM medications, absolute huge no for me. Cannot take them at all. So, but
Good
yeah,
to
oh my
know.
gosh, it would absolutely change my life if like I got a good night's sleep. If I just got 8 hours, I get about 5.5 to maybe 6 of disturbed sleep each night. That's it. That's it. I'm done. I'm done. I'm out of bed. So.
We'll hand things over to, thank you for that, Amy. Hand things
Mhm.
over to Harjarene. What if it was a good night's sleep was a superpower?
I'm gonna have to
How would
say the
it
same.
impact?
I'm gonna have to say the same. Like last night, for instance, I had 3 events last night. Um, and I did not Amy was saying that medication, but I actually take a medication to help me sleep because my anxiety and my depression. But I did not take that medicine last night because I just stayed in my bed all day and I just didn't want to get out of it, to go and take that medication. But I had 3 events, and that was the only difference because any other nights like 0.2 or 0.5 or no events. But so that medicine is, helps me get a good night's sleep because my mind
Mhm.
races through the night,
Yeah.
Mm,
with the anxiety and the depression. Um, so I take my medicine. I have my CPAP on. And that just helps me. I'm able to get up so early in the morning. Sometimes I beat my own alarm clock. I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but sometimes it's 3 something in the morning that I'm up because I'm getting a good night's sleep with my CPAP and
Wow.
my.
that's good to know. That's good to know.
Mhm.
And Joe, what about you?
Well, as I'm the resident geek in the group, and I was thinking of Marvel characters. I was thinking of DC characters, but I've come up with one character, and it's from the Invincible range, and her name is Atom Eve. And
Mhm.
what her superpower is she could just read. She could turn herself into anything, any sort of.
Oh,
She just restructures herself, and she turns into that because she can control atoms. But one of her ultimate powers is that she can regenerate and rejuvenate. And
yeah.
that is what sleep does for me. And I think, because Amy pointed out earlier on, you're all seeing the difference. You're all seeing the difference that now I've got Colin, my significant other. I am rejuvenated. I'm revitalized. It's wonderful. So yes, that's my superpower. She
Okay.
also loves the pink, Harjarene.
Oh, thank you.
Perfect. I love it. So we'll jump into the next one. So this one, it's a little long, but we'll get through it. Um, so let's see. Uh, somehow I did 2 questions. I don't know. Oh, it just showed up double. Okay. Many of us dismiss symptoms like snoring or feeling tired, but they can be clues to something bigger. Besides the typical signs, what were some of the unexpected ways sleep apnea first showed up in your life and the lives of people you know? So
For
essentially, just
me,
the bottom line up front, yeah, just what walk us through some of the symptoms beyond some of the standard ones.
it was just constantly ending up in the ER because I would have uncontrolled blood pressure, heart palpitations, dizziness. So I really started getting that in my early 30s. So I kind of like, as far as my weight, like I'm I was not overweight as a child and a teenager. When I got a little older and could afford to buy food and feed myself, and then I started putting on the weight as a young adult. And so when I got to my 20s. I was about 180 pounds. And I stayed that way for a long time. But then my dad died in my early 30s. And so, like, the stress of him dying and then me putting on a little more weight and closed off my airway even more, just, I was literally, I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. Like, my blood pressure was through the roof. And my heart would just go into tachycardia and it would race at 140 beats per minute just constantly. So it's like you're out there running a marathon. So those are really kind of the first symptoms that I noticed. And also, kind of well, I took a Tylenol PM because I had had a back injury and I really needed to sleep and I was trying to get through the pain. And then I had like this very horrible hallucinogenic episode because I stopped breathing while I was, under the medication. And it was terrifying because your brain's trying to tell you to wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. And it's like you're screaming inside to wake up and you can't. So, yeah, so those were kind of some of the first signs that I had something wrong with my sleep. And actually, the first study that I did didn't they brushed me off and told me, "Well, change positions. Just, we're not going to give you a sleep apnea machine. Just change positions." They're like, "Lay on your back." And I'm like, "I have a back injury that I have one position I can sleep in, period, end of story, and it is not my back." So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, so unfortunately, I didn't get the right diagnosis to begin with, and so then I struggled for about 5 more years till it became to the point where I was in the ER almost every single week because I was having such bad symptoms.
Sorry.
So,
Is it,
yeah.
I'm gonna. It's interesting that they told you for sleep paralysis, like when they mentioned sleep paralysis, to sleep on your back because that's actually what you shouldn't do. I just
Right,
wanted to
right.
throw that in there. Whether you have sleep apnea or not, if you suffer from sleep paralysis, part of the issue is when you bend back like this, it cuts
Mhm.
off. It cuts off
Yes.
whether it's a nerve or whatever, and you actually should not sleep on your back to avoid sleep paralysis. So that's
Mhm.
fascinating.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll talk later about what that experience was like for you. But sorry to jump in, Harjarene. Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, my husband told me that I was that I snored. But snoring isn't the only thing that says, hey. But he sleep himself, so he couldn't tell me if I stopped breathing. But I know about sleep apnea because he has sleep apnea, and it stopped me from sleeping many a nights because I knew he would stop breathing in his sleep until he finally went and he got a CPAP machine, and we didn't have that problem anymore. He sleeps with a CPAP machine as well. But my doctor sent me for a sleep study, and it came back that I stopped breathing 32 events per hour. So it was obstructive sleep apnea. So it was severe sleep
Mhm.
apnea. So I was able to get on zepbound because it's supposed to help with sleep apnea, and
Mhm.
my CPAP machine. So between the two of them, me losing the weight and the CPAP machine is helping me through with my sleep apnea. Like I said, I had 3 events last night, but I kind of think that's because I didn't take my medication. But any other night, it's like 0.2, 0.0. It's not a lot of events as long as I'm on that machine and losing the weight. So
Losing weight. It works.
it
Mhm.
works.
I For me, I would say definitely the symptoms that both Amy and Hardrain have already explained. Another symptom I had was I had dry mouth,
Mm,
Mhm.
really,
mhm,
really dry
mhm.
mouth. Um, but then I also was getting dry eyes. So they were saying, oh, maybe it's an autoimmune issue. And at that time, I was waking up drenched in sweat and then needing to change my sheets. So I thought that was the perimenopause that I was in. So I just thought that was the initial part of my sleep worries. But it was my doctor who actually said, you've got these asthma type symptoms, you're not sleeping, you blood's raging, everything's raging. I think we should get you into asthma clinic. And it was when I was in asthma clinic that the asthma specialist said, I think you should do this test. and that's where it came out. And for me, the problem always was because I don't live with anybody, so I don't have anyone telling me to wake up. And I'm just thinking about you, Harjarene, when you hear your husband, before he got his machine, when you're hearing him stopping to breathe, it's frightening, isn't it? It's frightening for you, and you didn't go to sleep because you're worrying about your husband. But when you've not got anyone, and weirdly, and I don't know now, Amy, if this, because one of my doctors said that sounds like sleep paralysis, but weirdly for me, my sister kept appearing in my dreams. Joe, wake up. She'd say, isn't it about time you took a breath? She'd say, and my sister, she's small and mighty. You do what she tells you. And I wake up like, I was like, thanks, Michelle, thanks, Michelle.
Yeah, you know, your brain gets so used to you needing to wake up that it will actually just start telling you to, like, it'll find a way to tell you to wake up. And it becomes easier and easier to wake up when you're in these, you know, really bad cycles of stopping breathing. So mine was kind of the same, but it was just me, like, waking myself up. A lot of times I would be chasing something, I'd be falling off a building, I'd be trying to do something that I couldn't and having absolute panic. And so that's because as your oxygen's dropping, your heart's racing,
Yeah.
right? So in the finally, like, later stages, it would be easier and easier actually to wake up. I would almost instantly know, up, time to wake up, and it wasn't as bad. But my sleep paralysis got so bad. Like, I'm terrified to sleep without my CPAP. Because if anybody else has ever had sleep paralysis, it is terrifying.
Frightening.
You don't, yeah, you don't want to ever experience that. So,
And I don't know if this will come up in another question, but can I just carry on from what Amy was saying there and ask her about, because you were having panic attacks, weren't you?
yeah, I would lay down in bed, and within 2 minutes, I would have a full on panic attack, and I'd have to get up and I'd be pacing the house because I couldn't. Because I had so much panic associated with going to sleep, I would lay down in bed and then I would freak out. So I had to start taking medication, not necessarily one that would make me stay asleep, but it would make me a little drowsy, but it would treat my anxiety so I could go lay down and go to sleep. So
That was
yeah,
pretty scary
it's
having that CPAP at first. It was very
mhm.
scary. Putting it on was scary
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I had
just
to
the
go through a
oxygen.
couple different masks. Yeah, I had to go through a couple different masks, and then like you said, like, the claustrophobia of having something
Hmm.
over your nose and mouth.
Hmm.
But once you get used to it, it's fine.
Yeah. It was scary to my kids. They were like, Mom, what's wrong? It was scary to them. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I've only had the power go out, I think maybe one time, and mine has a built-in alarm. So when the power goes out, my CPAP, there's an alarm built in, and it'll go off and wake me up. So if the machine stops working, it screams at me.
Okay.
So,
That's
which
good.
is great. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you don't want to really be wearing it without oxygen coming in.
Oxygen.
I mean, there are obviously holes in it to keep you from breathing in the carbon dioxide, but, like, you do want to get it off of your face if you do lose power as soon as possible.
Okay.
So, um,
Highly
but not all
recommend the next.
machines have.
Yeah. Oh,
I
sorry,
was
go
going to
ahead.
say not all machines have an alarm on them, though.
I better cut my power off and try.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because I think there's an Amazon Prime Day coming up, and you don't have to do Amazon, but usually and I'll link it in our chat, even though none of us are sponsored by this, but there's a really good mini generator.
Mhm,
Usually when it's on sale, it's like only $70, and it's really good. Like, I use it when I need to keep working and keep the internet on, but
mhm.
it's a really good mini generator and everything.
Peace of
Um,
mind, isn't
Oh
it?
yeah, that'd be nice.
Well,
yeah,
also
I'll
too,
make
like,
sure. Mhm.
if you can't do a generator that's like gas or propane or something else, don't forget that they sell those larger battery banks out there now that you can keep those fully charged all of the time, and then you can plug in appliances to them, and they should last a good 24 hours, if not more, for just a CPAP machine.
Okay.
That's a really good idea.
Thank you, ladies. Yeah.
Mhm.
Good information.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. We had a good chat. There's been a couple of questions, and so if anyone can take this question or all. This is from our dear Kate, Joe's
Fairy godmother.
Very
fairy
good.
godmother. Exactly, yeah. And so her question is there a direct correlation or causation between sleep apnea and cortisol levels? Just either from your research or your doctor. But anyway, go ahead, Amy.
Yeah, absolutely. My endocrinologist will 100% confirm that your cortisol levels are tied to your sleep apnea. So the worse your sleep apnea is, the higher your cortisol levels are. And the more difficulty you will have losing weight because your cortisol levels are through the roof. So, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. So I have had medical doctors tell me that.
And the reality of it is because of that panic, isn't it? And the anxiety that both Amy and
Hmm.
Harjarene have already explained,
Mhm.
is
Hmm.
that if your body, even with you subconsciously not quite fully awake, your body knows that it's not getting the oxygen. That's why it drives your heart rate up, it drives
Hmm.
your adrenaline up, it drives the cortisol up. And then if you're like, for me, I stop breathing 8 to 5 times a night. That's happening every 45 seconds. And that
Hmm.
was why I'm saying that, but it was for me,
Hmm.
there was nothing I could do about trying to lose weight. I was getting like this and I was just becoming more grey because there's no oxygen in me. I was like, I think it was about 74% oxygen. And it
Wow.
was like,
Mhm.
why is
Mhm.
no one putting me on oxygen? They would just say, oh, your oxygen level's low. I know. You can see this. But yeah, cortisol is a beast. And I don't know whether it's a cause and whether it's a vicious circle, but certainly having sleep apnea will increase your cortisol. And you have to get the cortisol under control if you're going to try and lose some weight. Because a lot of
Hmm.
sleep apneas as well, you can have the obstructive one where it can be about the size of your neck. The other
Mhm.
sleep apneas we can have is like what Amy's explaining, where it's a problem with your septum and the
Hmm.
nasal passages. But if your sleep apnea is worsened because the weight that you're gaining, you're just in a vicious cycle of in more and more cortisol.
Hmm.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, and mine is I guess hereditary. Like both of my brothers had sleep apnea. I actually shared a room with one of my brothers for many years, and oh my gosh, he could rattle the pictures off the walls with how he snored. And unfortunately, he has passed away because he never treated his sleep apnea,
Oh,
Mhm.
and it kind of deteriorated his health, um, among other things. But yeah, so don't it's not something to play with and not get treated. But yeah, for me, like my weight doesn't help, but mine is I have a pretty deviated septum inside. And so it like when I lay down, it smushes and then just completely blocks my airway. So, and maybe if I lose enough weight, maybe they'll consider me a candidate for surgery. But right now, like I can't get anything surgically done here because doctors have told me to my face, that their insurance will not cover them if they operate on me. So I can't get my gallbladder out like I need to. I've got a blocked duct in my liver because of my gallbladder, and I can't do anything about it until I lose enough weight to fit into their insurance.
Until when you
So
lose weight, because you're losing the weight. So
yeah, I'm losing the
when you
weight.
lose
So
weight.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So I think I'm only 20 pounds away. So pray for me that I'll
Yeah.
I'll get there soon. And
You'll get there.
uh yeah, maybe for my birthday. I had back surgery on my 40th birthday. Maybe on my 52nd, I'll have gallbladder surgery. So,
We're gonna claim it at 51. We're gonna claim it at
yeah.
50.
Exactly. Amen. I like
Yeah, I
that.
am
Yes.
51, so I've only got 4 months, well, 4 or 5 months to go before.
Okay,
So
well
I
then we
can,
claiming it. We claiming it.
Yeah.
We're claiming it.
Yeah.
So there was a, and we did put the response in the chat. There was a question about, the difference between, sleep paralysis and then night terrors. And so I did put those definitions, but sleep paralysis is the one where, kind of people they wake up in the middle of, they typically
Mhm.
can't move. They know they're awake. They're trying to talk, but it
Mhm.
comes out. My husband tries to describe to me the things I'm saying. It's like, yeah, you should probably exercise that situation. But, and then whereas, night terrors is that sort of you fully just waking up in that agitation due to something being stimulated. So definitely go, research each on your own if that's something or experience or just interested in. What happens in our bodies when we're asleep or lack thereof sleep is very fascinating. So, and then I
Mhm.
think there was another question before we moved on. Oh, and I just want to say it out loud. Delilah put this in the chat. Yes, 100%. Work with and this is for anybody that requires a medical device that requires electricity. Work with your electric
Mhm.
company to ensure that you're on the list so if they do the rolling blackouts and things like that, and if there's an electrical outlet or power lines are down, it's very important to let them know. It's like, look, we need to be prioritized here and
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Thank you, Delilah.
Very good
Yeah,
point.
Yeah.
thank you so much for that.
That's
So it's
good to know.
important to get
I'm
those
very
things in place.
lucky that I'm on a power grid with a hospital because, well, the 2 blocks over is a hospital. So so I rarely ever lose power here, ever, ever, ever.
Good.
So
That's
I'm
a
very
huge and hard to
blessed.
rate. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Harjarene, I think you and I are both familiar when Texas had those because Texas chooses to do its power differently than the rest of the world. But when it had those storms and stuff, places
Hmm.
that were near a hospital did not lose power.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it makes a huge difference where you're located. Okay, I want to make sure we didn't miss anything in the chat before we go to the rest of the questions. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I think you're responding. Yes, you're just responding to some of the feedback. Perfect. And then, okay, so let me come back over here to a question. I'm going to skip around a little bit because I feel like we've captured some things, but let's get to the relationship between whether it's the GLP-1 treatments, other treatments related to sleep apnea. Let's kind of have the conversation around treatment. Um, so here we go. For those navigating sleep apnea treatment, including new options like GLP-1s and GIPs, what have been some of the biggest personal challenges and triumphs along the way? So personal challenges and triumphs to get to where we are today as it relates to treatment.
I would say for me, at this point, my weight loss has not been significant enough to improve my sleep apnea, only because I'm really struggling with allergy issues for like the past several months. Um, and so, like, my sinuses have, I've really been struggling with like swelling of my sinuses. And um, so I actually, and I have been really bad and I really need to go to another sleep doctor. So it's, oh, sorry, my cat just startled me. Um, I haven't been in about 4 years. So like I'm neglecting myself and I really need to take care of it.
Yeah.
But as far as like the GLP-1, so I'm on zepbound because in the US I'm not pre-diabetic or diabetic. So I get prescribed the brand name zepbound, which is the same as Manjaro. It's exact same medication, just a different name. Um, but I would say for that, for like mood, like my mood and brain focus and getting things done, uh inflammation, like you wouldn't believe like the inflammation that I had in my legs and in my face and everywhere and anywhere. My body just not hurting 100% all of the time every day. Like everything was sore from head to toe. Yeah, so it's just been a life changer for me. The downside is I'm paying 100% out of pocket. I've already spent well over $3,500 cash out of my own pocket on it, and
Wow.
I'm getting at the end of my rope. So I'm like, start a YouTube channel. Let's see if we can get learning some extra money to maybe help pay for that. So, I'm hoping that my employer, like, annual bonuses are coming up soon. So I'm hoping that, like, by the time I get that can float my medicine for several more months, and then maybe by then I'll be making a little money on YouTube. So um, that's really the downside, is the healthcare system just not providing, because like my BMI was not even on the chart. If you walked into a doctor's office and they had a BMI chart on it on the wall, because of my height, I'm 5 foot tall, my number would not be on there. But yet somehow the healthcare plans feel it's appropriate to deny me a treatment for me to lose weight, right? So they would not even approve a semaglutide or any other obesity drug that my endocrinologist tried to prescribe. Everything on my plan is any obesity drug is denied for no reason. You can't get it approved for any reason. It's just not allowed at all. And it's like, well, but okay, well, then now you have to pay for my sleep apnea doctor and my sleep study and my supplies and all of this other thing, and my medicine for high blood pressure, and this doctor and that doctor to treat all the other symptoms I'm having because I'm overweight, when you could just pay for this medication to help me lose weight. So,
Right.
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 Yeah. So that's been a challenge. So
Yeah.
what about you, Harjarene? Like, how has your healthcare company been treating you with the medication?
Well, they wouldn't approve me for zepbound for my weight for obesity. They
Hmm.
wouldn't approve me for that. But like I said, my doctor sent me for that sleep study, and he came back and
Hmm.
they approved it right away um, for the sleep study for the sleep apnea. Um, and I'm losing the weight, and because I'm losing the weight, I know it's helping with my sleeping. Like I said, like I told y'all, my events are like 0 to none, 0.2, 0.5. And I'll take that because, like I say, 32 events is ridiculous. So I'll
Yeah.
take the 0 point. And I'm getting like 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. So it also, my little machine tells me all of that. So that's one thing. If you're concerned, how do I know? The machines record all of that information for you, and they have apps. So they came a long way. They have apps to because my husband didn't have an app. He just had the machine, and the nurse could actually chime in on his stuff, on his. But now they have, well, I don't know how long it's been out there, but for me, I have an app that also tells me
Hmm.
everything that my machine is telling me for me to go back and look at this information for me to be able to find that out. But no, they wouldn't approve me for zepbound because Wegovy didn't work for me, or I didn't work for Wegovy. Let me say that. It may have been me. Um, but like it could have been, I don't know. Manjaro worked, uh, but when we tried to get Zepbound, we tried for a while. Like I said, they just kept denying it. So I finally with the sleep apnea. So the sleep apnea saved my life, you know.
So true. I
Yeah.
would say, I would say for me, in the UK, things are done differently. We most of the time we do the NHS, that's the National Health Service, um, and some organisations and some individuals may pay for private insurance, but we don't really have that conversation because it is so individual. So it's that there's so many different insurances and different personal plans, so we don't really have that conversation. For me, I was sent for a sleep study in September 2024, and I didn't get the results back until the 4th of April 2025, when they found out I was in that 7.5 hours of the study. I stopped breathing 600 times, which is it's frustrating. That's the least of what I could say about it. But when they played back what they could hear, and you could hear me struggling to breathe. You could hear me whimpering. It breaks my heart hearing all these things that was being heard on that study, and they didn't get the results back to me for 7 months. Miss Mary will not sleep with me now. Remember when I first met you all, Miss Mary was over grieving herself. She was making herself bleed. She was really, really anxious. I think it's because of the sleep.
Mhm.
And then the other thing that was really, really bad, and I'm going to admit this now to you all. I only admitted this to my mum, but I was dribbling before I got my machine. I must have been dribbling, and if I fell asleep on the settee, I'd be dribbling. So I'd be dribbling all down my face here. If I dribbling in the night, it would be going down into my cleavage, and I'd end up with fungal. What's that phrase? Candy. I can't think what it is. Cannula. Is it
Can
cannula?
Candidus or
Candidiosis.
something?
Yes,
Something
yes,
like
Something
that?
something like
like
that.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I had a massive, massive patch of it on my chest. And that was just because and I would be drenched from saliva before I finally got my sleep apnea machine. And it was hell on earth. And what I was saying, I know, Amy, you said you used to have the panic attacks going to bed. I used to go to bed thinking I would never wake up.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
it's a horrible thing to have to go, because you need to go to sleep. Your body's telling you you need sleep. So I'd be falling asleep, and this is another really important thing you have to be keeping an eye out for. If you fall asleep at your desk, or if you're watching the TV or anything like that, you have to go and get a sleep study done, because if you were a driver, you don't know if you were falling asleep when you were driving, and you would absolutely hate the idea of something awful happening because you didn't know that you had sleep apnea. So if you're falling asleep watching TV, go and just speak to your doctor, and see if you could just do like a sleep study. And I'm hoping that for those of you in the UK, in the US certainly, you're not waiting 7 months for the results. It took me
No.
7 months to get the appointment,
Yeah.
never mind 7 months for them for the results. And the difference that would have had on my life, as I say, I didn't have a life, did I? We know I didn't have a life. I've got a life now. This is brilliant. But I've got Colin now. So like exactly what you were saying, Amy, I'd never be without him. And even,
Mhm.
I was not very well over the weekend, so I was trying to sleep a lot. I'd be in bed just with Colin on, even if I
Mhm.
wasn't asleep, and just having that oxygen coming through, because I think that has helped me get to the stage that I'm back out of bed again now, 2 days after a fibromyalgia flare up. But yeah, crazy times. Make sure we need to
Mhm.
vote. We need to vote to get the Congress people. We need people who care a little bit more for our health.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's what I'm going to say.
Yes.
I'm not going
Absolutely.
to any bandwagon, but
yeah.
Well, now I'm gonna, Joe. I'm gonna let you hold the cards with that conversation. So,
that's
yeah. So yeah.
vote.
Yeah. So yeah. So no, that's perfect. So a really good question came up in the chat, and I'm always curious about this because I've heard a few people talk about sort of. I don't even want to. I don't put labels because I get things like acupuncture and massage and cupping and all those things, and it's done wonders for me. But let me find her. Yeah, my traveling gypsy Tara had a really good question. Have any of y'all used things like acupuncture or Reiki, things like that, to help with sleep?
Mm-mm.
No, honestly, I haven't.
Teresa. Okay, thank you.
I have tried, what have I think really the thing that I've tried is limiting electronic devices in my bedroom. So when I go to bed, like my phone goes up immediately. Like I don't no longer bring my iPad in my bedroom. And my phone, as soon as I usually take it in because I have a cat who needs medication 5 minutes apart. So I go in there and I set my timer. Then when I'm done with him, I set my alarm for the morning and then my phone goes up. So helping with decreasing the stimulation, and then just like unwinding your mind. You know what I mean? Just focusing on relaxation and just breathing and clearing your mind. So those are the only things that I have tried other than using my CPAP religiously. Um, so yeah, that's all I have done.
And then kind of continuing with, and y'all were sort of headed this direction already. Let's getting into sort of the lifestyle shifts and changes, whether it's in how you're eating, your workouts, things of that nature. What does that look like pre and post your treatment, your diagnosis, and now treatment of sleep apnea?
For me, honestly, I've had it so long and I've been under treatment so long that I kind of almost don't remember. Honestly, I've been using a CPAP machine for at least 12 years now. And I think prior to that, really, I think one of the struggles I had was when I was exercising. I would really, really struggle. Like my fingers would turn red and burn. And there's some other symptoms that my cardiologist explained to me that was really from the lack of oxygen that I'm getting at night. Also, I'm starting to get varicose veins on my feet and around my ankles. And that's from lack of oxygen at night, right? Because it's going to take away from your extremities. So I'm kind of getting some staining that's like not really going away. Um, and obviously the weight gain, the increased cortisol levels. So that kind of happened with the sleep apnea, and it's slightly, I'd say slightly improved. My cortisol levels are pretty good, but weight gain, my weight is tied to my sleep apnea, but not like mine is the brain receptor problem. So, and I also have Hashimoto's, which makes it incredibly difficult because
Yeah.
it's an intermittent disease, right? Like you're good, you're good, you're good. And then next thing you know, you put on 40 pounds in a month for zero reason. And by the time you get your doctor's appointment and you take all your tests, all of your labs are normal again because all of everything that went haywire in that month that you put on weight has then gone back to normal. And so, like, I do regular testing and then they can never catch it because I never end up managing to get an appointment around when I'm having an episode. But luckily, I don't have them very often. It's only been about 3 or 4 that I've had. But when you're putting on 40, 50 pounds in a month, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a huge jump in your weight. So I
And
kind of
that's
went
that's
from,
not
yeah.
food. There's no way that could ever be
Mm-mm.
food.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's not at all. Because I didn't change my diet at all with that. Now because I have the Hashimoto's, like it has progressed into I'm starting to get food allergies. So now I'm like, I have a corn allergy and a shellfish allergy. And so it very limits what I can eat because the
Mm,
corn is in everything. I did
everything.
a shopping video on my channel and I was like picking up packages and showing people, oh, well, there's xanthan gum in it, there's cornstarch in it, there's modified cornstarch, there's cornmeal or corn this or corn everything, right? And so like 99% of what's on the shelves, like I can't put in my body because it has corn in it.
Yeah.
So I really have to strict to stay to fresh fruits and vegetables, unmarinated meats. I can make my own marinades, but like most commercially produced like sauces, almost all have some type of corn thickener in them. So yeah, so I really have modified my diet and I have seen the inflammation go down from not ingesting corn. Uh, and taking the GLP-1 has really like taken a lot of the inflammation. I have pictures of me like 30 to 40 pounds lighter, and I compared them in one video, and like my face was so puffy uh, because I had just been eating so many things that had my contaminants in it. I was like traveling through
Mm.
Switzerland and eating dairy, eating cheese through
Oh.
Switzerland. And my face was just so swollen. I looked like I had chipmunk cheeks. But the GLP-1 has been amazing for inflammation. Like, yeah, you wouldn't believe like the difference. And what was it? My cardiologist was so pleased when he saw me a couple weeks ago because he was like pressing on my feet and pressing on my ankles, and he's like, "There's no swelling there at all."
That's
That's
brilliant.
So
good. That's
That is
good.
yeah,
great. Brilliant.
Yeah.
so
But you don't do
that
it. Oh,
has.
go ahead. Sorry, Amy.
I was going to say, yeah, so that has made a huge difference. And when I'm not having this allergy flare up and I'm actually getting a good night's sleep on the CPAP, like it's just life changing because you can actually do things the next day. You're not literally sitting there going, looking at your watch, when can I go back to bed? Like I need to go lay back down.
Mm,
Like you need I you
mm.
know, I need to stop doing anything and I need to just vegetate. Right? I'm sure you guys have experienced that too, where you just can no longer function because you're so worn out just all
Yeah.
of the time. So,
That is the way it was for me.
mhm,
I still would get up early in the morning, but it would be like, oh, I want to go back to bed, but I wouldn't go back to bed because I'd be like inner channeling my grandmother. My grandmother got up very early, and I wanted to be like her because she got up very early, started her day, had her coffee. I would do the same things she would do. Um, but I would be tired even throughout the day. I would be like, oh, I got to
mhm,
lay it down for a nap or whatever, uh, before I had the machine. But now that I have the CPAP machine and I have the zepbound, I'm
mhm.
energetic all day long. Um,
That's brilliant.
yeah, I'm energetic all day long.
That's
And
yeah,
you
I
mentioned
know.
varicose.
A
You mentioned
plus.
varicose veins. I have plenty of varicose veins. I didn't know,
Mhm.
but that's what that was. That was connected to it. So I'm going to bring that up with my doctor.
Yeah, it can, especially the way that I have gotten them, like just kind of around my ankle and my feet. The cardiologist said it was just really from lack of blood flow. So
Mhm.
so he called it venous inefficiency or insufficiency. But all of my cardiac results and tests are all perfectly normal. So it's from the sleep apnea.
Mhm. Okay.
That's interesting you said that because I've been diagnosed with Raynaud's, and that was the reason why I
Hmm.
couldn't walk because my feet were so swollen. They'd be like purple all the time,
Hmm.
and big, like big chipolatas. And the same with my fingers. And when I've just had my flare up, it's happened again. But they said it's Raynaud's. But I'm thinking, well, as you say, it makes sense that it could have been when we were having the sleep apnea that was undiagnosed and untreated.
Hmm.
I still get it, and it happens as well when it's warm as well as it's cold. So I think
Hmm.
it is Raynaud's, but as you say, it's certainly been eased by the GLP-1, and I'm on the
Hmm.
Manjaro. So I don't know. I know most people are saying that with the tirzepatide, that helps really well with the inflammation. I don't know if it's the same with the semaglutides. So I remember you were saying, Harjarene, that you weren't getting on so well with Wegovy,
No, I wasn't.
and that might be why. If you've got the cortisol raging and the inflammation raging, and Wegovy wasn't doing anything for it, you're not losing weight because you can't
Right.
lose weight.
Right. Now, I wasn't gaining either, but I wasn't losing.
You wasn't losing it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting, really interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, as many times as we can say out loud, they are not the same medications. It will really help
Yeah.
with insurance companies. Anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not the same
sorry,
medication. It's
not the
not
same
the same
medication.
medication.
not at all.
I'm gonna put my soapbox over here now. So yeah,
Hey,
Stepping on
I
you.
need I need that soapbox. I'm only 5 foot tall.
there you go. I'll send it. I'll send it over to you.
Yeah.
We have a couple of really good questions in the chat, and this is some new information. I think because Cindy has a question, and then Lori has a question, and so let's go with Cindy first. This is specifically for Amy, but anyone can answer. Have you watched? I'm going to say Naisha or Nisha on YouTube. She has Hashimoto. She is Dr. Barry's wife and talks a lot about it. Is that the familiar?
I
So,
don't No, I don't think so. So
okay.
I'll make sure that I go back through the chats when I'm done,
Yeah.
and pull that name up if anybody has like exactly her channel name, like her what do they call it? Channel handle. So it's not
Mhm.
necessarily like the name that you see, but it's actually like the at symbol and then the channel. So if someone has that
Right,
and drops
right.
it in the chat, I'll go back and
Can
look at
I
it.
can I just add on to that point, if that's okay? I
Yeah.
know that question came from Cindy. So Cindy Demange, I adore Cindy and Brian. They're part of the keto carnivore community that I'm a part of. And I'm a part of that because, like Amy was saying with her information, there are so many foods that I
Mhm.
cannot eat because then I'm going to blow up.
Mhm.
And majority of those are complex carbs, and that's why I just find it so much easier to not, but don't eat anything that is from a package or has got a barcode. Not because I'm being, some people have got like an ethos about it. It's not about an ethos for me. It's about my gut
Mm-mm.
for me. And I
Yeah.
can't eat anything that is going to make me go and sit in the toilet for 2 days when I'm trying to get out the house. I'm still relatively housebound. I don't want to be putting myself back into the house. So that's why I eat the animal protein, the fish, only eat certain green veg and only eat certain fruit. I'm just looking because my kiwi fruit. I bought some kiwi fruit the other day, and I bought them like 2 weeks ago, and they're still hard. So I've got to give them up. that's not gonna that is not gonna ripen anytime soon.
Right.
And that's why. And Cindy knows herself. Cindy's had such an amazing response from being keto, because she had high blood pressure right from her teenager's years, and nothing
Uh-oh.
a keto diet. And Dr. Berry is very much a pioneer for saying, there's some amazing things that can happen if you cut out a lot of the processed foods that will make you inflamed.
Thank you for that, and good shout out to Cindy. And so definitely check out Cindy's channel, and to just, I mean, it's just good to unlearn just, one of the things, and we are beautifully and wonderfully made. That comes from scripture. If you practice that faith, beautifully and wonderfully made. We are beautifully and wonderfully made of chemicals to build these human bodies. We are giant chemistry sets. And so the things we input into our bodies will react to our chemical makeup. So it is very important we monitor how our body reacts to things that we input by choice and by just what's out in the world. So really explore these channels that talk about all the ways that we can take in food and all the things. So thank you for that, Joe, for highlighting Cindy's channel like that.
Thank you.
And so Lori from GLP Journey and Review, definitely check out her channel as well. She does amazing interviews. So this is one for people. I definitely want to hear more about this because I don't think I've heard of this. So has anyone tried the Inspire implant?
No,
No,
and I
I
hadn't
don't know
heard.
what that is.
Yeah.
I know it's something that gets put into your chest, and it stimulates your jaw to stay open to keep the airways free. So it works for some masks. Not sure it would work for you, Amy, because of yours is septum based.
Hmm.
And I think as well, my doctor said that my neck is wide, but he said as well that I will have to be on the CPAP for the rest of my life. So I don't know whether, because I don't know whether I've always got a wide neck. I don't know. I don't know if he put that out there or something, but maybe that's something for those, especially those who really struggle with the idea of sleeping with the CPAP machine, who struggle with the claustrophobia. But it's an implant. Similar implant to what I had with Heart Garfunkel, where they put it in under the skin under your chest. I'm not sure if Laurie wants to share any more information in the chat with us on that one. I would say as well, can I add one more point?
Yes, please.
So now I've lost 84 pounds. We know already I used to have the issue with the mask and tightening the straps and things. I think now, I think Amy, you explained this to me. I need to go back and
Mhm.
speak to my doctor about the pressure, because I think the
Yes.
pressure is now too high, that I don't need it as high. So sometimes I'm waking up in the middle of the night, and where Colin is almost is like he's waking me up, not because of the I'm doing that, but because I'm just feeling like I'm getting too much air being pushed at me. So I really do need to speak to my sleep clinic to just adjust the pressure on there.
Absolutely, especially if your weight is contributing to your sleep apnea. It's highly recommended to continually visit your sleep doctor and for them to be reading your information and discussing, like, how do you feel your pressures are doing. I know that previously I had gone from uh, my previous highest weight was 256 pounds before I gained a bunch of weight after I got divorced. And then I dropped 70 pounds and they like almost halved my pressures. And I went down like a mask size. So they did a, change out my mask size as well as adjust my pressures. So, and sadly, I have not gotten my pressures readjusted since then. And that is really, really my bad. And I need to be on that and I'll put that at the top of my list to make sure I do that before the end of the year.
Amy, shall we do it for tomorrow? Shall we both make sure we ring the sleep clinic tomorrow?
Absolutely. I need to do that. Yeah, my insurance plan expires on November 30th, and then we restart with a new deductible. So I need to get it done and get in and get all my testing so then I don't have to pay for
Yeah.
it.
So
Because
I
otherwise I
re-
start paying for everything out of pocket on December
right,
1st.
right.
So
So quick question with that readjustment. So I know, every so many pounds, I send my yeah, so many pounds. I send my blood glucose ranges to my endocrinologist to say, hey, do we need to adjust something? So, what does that adjustment correlate with? Is it weight loss, or just you noticing you're something different is happening? What is usually sort of instigating you needing to adjust your numbers and stuff?
yeah, it's a lot. Well, if your sleep apnea is really hindered by or exacerbated by your weight, right, as the fat in your neck and around your airways shrinks, then those open up your airways more, right? So then that means you don't need as much pressure to keep you breathing and to
Yeah.
get past that. That's how the doctor explained it to me. So, yeah, as you're losing weight, then you just don't need the higher pressures. I don't know that there would be a correlation with blood sugar and the sleep apnea. I've never, because I've never had an issue with my blood sugar or glucose level. So I don't know like how
Oh,
that would correlate.
sorry about that. It was less about blood sugar than it was the impact of weight on you adjusting,
Oh, yeah,
what
yeah.
you're doing
So
with
it
your.
really
Sorry
is
for the
the
confusion.
like, yeah, that's okay. So yeah, so I think with me, like when I did lose down to 180 pounds, they did take my levels down. But I think like Joe, I would be a person who would need it all of my life until I probably was able to get septum surgery. And maybe at that point after that healed, I could come off of it. But like I said, I've had sleep apnea since I was even a teenager. I noticed that I would stop breathing and wake up every single night. So yeah, so Joe, what were you gonna say?
I was just going to say, I'm not sure if Harjarene's noticed this as well, but I've now recently found I'm no longer pre-diabetic. Well, I couldn't understand why I was pre-diabetic. I know, it's good, isn't it? Everyone threw up some confetti for that one. Everyone threw confetti.
Hey, I
I'm
got
no
some
longer
today.
pre-diabetic. I've got to accept it as a good thing because we know that apparently it's taken me off the ability to get it free, the Manjaro free. So, but please, I'm very happy that I'm no longer pre-diabetic. But I never understood why I was pre-diabetic in the first place because I've always eaten low carb, low FODMAP because of the problems I was having with those foods. And I think Jen and we were talking about it, wasn't we? And we said about cortisol can be part of the problem with the blood
Oh,
glucose as well.
100%. I mean,
absolutely.
anything can impact blood sleep. I don't want to shift the conversation too much, but anything can impact. But what's going on in your dental work, and if there's any infection that can impact it, that's why teeth should be under healthcare, not its own category. But again, not going over there. Um, cortisol levels, just anxiety, anything that's sort of causing all that stimulation to happen can affect
Mhm.
blood glucose. But that's for another. We are going to talk about it further about blood glucose. But yeah.
Yeah, so Joe, like
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that they took you off, that they're now saying they won't cover the medication, because in the United States I recently found out that if you were pre-diabetic or had type 2 diabetes and you lost enough weight that you were no longer testing in those ranges, the insurance companies consider it as remission and not cured. So they would continue to pay for the medication to keep your sugar levels and glucose levels in check, right? Because it's kind of like the disease of obesity. It's like just because you get it under control. If you stop taking the medication, like then, oh, well, you still have the disease, right? So like it could come back at any moment. So it's in remission,
What
not cured.
interestingly, there's the fourth part of what's it called? You've got to have 4 of 5 in the UK. And because I
Oh,
haven't got
okay.
the pre-diabetes, then that's why they're saying I'm out. But what he's doing is he's put me back on for another echocardiogram because my blood pressure's come under control. So he says, let's get your echocardiogram done again, because that's the one that's going to prove that I've got the heart disease. So we know I've got the heart disease. So I'm already wearing the machine, and I've still got the problem with the aldosterone. So hopefully I'm going to get it that way. But if not, then I'm going to dispute it. As Kalam said, take it to a higher power and dispute it, because it seems unfair that the fact that because I've got myself out of pre-diabetes, I'm not going to get the medication, even though, as you say, I've still got all of these issues. Well,
Well, just don't ever downplay your symptoms. Like my advice for like getting things covered is don't downplay your symptoms. Kind of play them up, and okay, maybe have that candy bar before you go to bed the night before you're going to get your sugar tested. Like, look, I'm sure saying that's probably illegal, but you know what I mean? Like, I think like so much is taken away from us because of like a checklist on a page, when like you need the medication, like you shouldn't be taken off of it. You still have a decent bit of weight to lose. And also too, like how are you going to keep yourself under control if you don't have the medication, right? It didn't cure, or maybe like your diabetes is in control, right? So you're pre-diabetes, you're no longer pre-diabetic, but when you stop, what's going to happen? Maybe it's going to go back, and maybe you're going to put weight back on even though you're dieting, right? Because it didn't cure the disease of obesity, it's just managing it for you,
that's it. It's managing it.
right? It's
And
managing it.
Harjarene will agree with that, won't you, Harjarene? Because of the differences in the different medication that you were on.
Yep. And to answer that question about the breathing, I think my machine is not, like I said, I was on number 8. I believe it's on number 4 now. So my machine is doing it itself. It's adjusting
Yay.
itself. So I don't know if that's
That's
some
Oh,
technology
brilliant.
that they have out there or what, but yeah, it was on
yeah, they
8.
do have self-adjusting
Yeah.
machines. Yeah.
So it's doing it
I
itself.
got one of
Wow.
them.
It's doing it
Nice.
itself.
Confetti for Harjarene. That is brilliant.
Yeah. It's on 4
That's
now.
halved.
Wow. That
Yeah.
is definitely to be celebrated. When I started, I was at 11. So,
Oh, well,
yeah,
I
so
just
that
got to
was a
check
lot.
mine and it's 17.7.
Wow.
That's what I mean. He's forcing it. I'm like, Colin. Yeah.
So it's not, so Kyle's not readjusting itself. Okay.
Yeah.
With those times in the night when your man wants to let you know that he's there. That's what Colin's doing for me at the moment. It's like, Colin, no, I'm not in the mood.
Oh my gosh. Jill, my friend Jill just said hers is at 20. Oh my
20,
Oh, wow.
goodness.
goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Okay, look, grandmother's up. So we've got Charles on, haven't we?
Yeah, he said
Grandmother's
he.
up, Bab. The
Yeah.
goat. We're not winning. We're not
Yes.
winning.
Yes. And
But
we
here's
have a couple. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Audrey. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jill.
I have the res med.
The ResMed
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
The res med.
So I've
I
got
have
ResMed, but I think I've
Philips.
got an older model.
Yeah, I have a Philips brand. I had ResMed at one point, but I've been using one so long that I think I'm on my fourth machine. I think so.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
The Philips one's
Yeah.
supposed to be really good, isn't it?
hmm Yeah, it's really nice. The downfall is that the machine can't be used without the humidifier attached. Now, you can turn the
Um,
heated tube and the humidity off when you're traveling so you don't have to fill the tank. I did that recently when I was on the cruise because I didn't have distilled water. But you still have to bring the humidifier, which makes it like you're bringing twice the machine,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. I
So
hear
my
you.
old ResMed, you could detach the humidifier and leave that at home. Um, but yeah, so most people don't realize that if you read through the instructions, there's usually a way to use it without the humidifier if you can't get a hold of distilled water. And I really don't recommend using tap water because there could be microbes or bacteria.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
not just the minerals that could build up in the tank. It's also too that it's not purified,
So
I'm
right?
it's
glad you
just
So
said that, Amy.
fumes.
I'm glad you said that
yeah.
because my mouth has been very dry and I stopped
hmm
using the humidifier. I stopped using the
Yeah.
humidifier. But I have distilled water. I think I'm going to start
hmm
back using it because my mouth has been
Yeah.
so dry.
Mm.
So I think
Yeah,
I'm going to start back
mine
using
has mine has an automatic, like it reads the humidity in the air and mine changes
it. Hmm.
because like seasonality here, like in the winter we get about 10% humidity indoors. In the summer it's about 60 to 70%. So it's a huge swing. So my tank adjusts the temperature of the little hot plate to cause the humidity.
Hmm.
I notice in the summer, like you know, if I fill the whole thing up, it can last for a week. But in the winter, it's like every day I have
Wow.
to
Wow.
fill up my
Hmm.
humidifier. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely. If you're having dry mouth,
Yeah, I'm going to
I
do
would
that. I'm going to
definitely
start
turn
it
that back
tonight.
on.
Yeah, I'm going to start it
hmm
tonight.
Yeah, and I see our comment there, like uh kept blowing my mouth open. That's yeah, that definitely can it can happen. Now I'm a mouth breather already. I
Hmm.
cannot sleep with my mouth closed, so like I wouldn't notice that. I've
So we
always got my
have
mouth hanging open.
right. It's funny.
Yeah.
So one quick question, and I think and again, if y'all are in the chat, throw in some
Mhm.
questions. But one question we want to ask everyone, because I just think this is, just good to know. Uh, what's your personal secret, our very much out loud secret, right? To staying motivated and committed to your sleep apnea management, um, especially sometimes if progress feels slow. What are some of the secret things you do?
Um, so for me, like sleep apnea wise, it's a no-brainer because I know, like to me, like I have this absolute panic of I'm going to die in my sleep if I don't use my machine. So I'm always motivated to use my machine, even if it's just a nap, a 20-minute, 30-minute nap or sleeping. So there's no motivation needed. Like, I'm always going to do that. Like staying on diet and getting my act together with my health and nutrition. Um, I just realized that there's no one like I'm single now. I divorced my husband and most of my family has passed on and you know like my closest friends live a decent bit away and I realize I'm on my own. If I cannot care for myself, there's nobody here to do it for me. So I just have to remember that like if I need help using the toilet or in the shower or getting ready, like, I have to make sure that I'm healthy enough to be able to reasonably take care of myself
Yeah.
because there's no one else that's gonna do it for me. So that's really my motivator. I have to keep
Mhm.
remembering that I have to keep doing it. And so even if like I eat something that I shouldn't, or if I go over my calories on a day, I'm just like, whatever, just keep on track as much as I can, because like 95% better than I was before is 95% better than
Mhm.
I was before. Right.
Right,
So if
right,
I'm messing up
right.
5% of the time, whatever. You know what I mean? I went on a cruise and I didn't track my calories at all. I gained 7 pounds, but then the week later, I lost 9 pounds. It was all inflammation from just allergens,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, like, just stop beating yourself up over the stuff, and just like just worry about like every little incremental thing that you can do, and how much, what's the word, not competitive, but like when you're doing the same thing over and over and over again,
Oh,
and like
consistency.
Insanity.
consistent. Yeah, just make sure you're as consistent as you can be. If all you can be is 80% consistent, then be 80%
I
consistent
love that.
all of the time, right? Like, if I'm 95% consistent, then that just needs to be good enough. And stop, it may take longer to get where I'm going, but stop beating yourself up over it. Let it go. Just move on.
Yeah.
Right? Celebrate your wins and stop worrying about like you're never going to lose weight again. Because before, I would have been so upset. I would have never not counted my calories on the cruise, because I would have got back and been like, I'm never going to be able to start losing weight again, because without the medication, I would have never started losing weight again. Right? Like once I broke my perfect diet, it would have ground everything to a halt for months. So I don't know if anybody else ever experiences that, but like before the medication, when I would diet, I had to be 100% consistent all of the time.
Mhm.
Like one time I ate something on 4th of July because people were encouraging me to, break my diet, and I did that, and it took me another month and a half to get
Right,
to get my weight to move again. And it was
Wow.
literally like one meal, and it
Yeah.
threw me off
right,
for a month and a
Not
half.
worth
So,
it.
right.
no, but now, like, because the medication, I can actually lose weight. I just like do my best every day, and, you know, to just keep steady, just keep, don't beat yourself up, celebrate your victories, and be consistent. So,
Yeah.
You know, the medication that we're on, it works here
mhm,
and in the gut.
yeah,
Works both places.
absolutely.
Yeah, works in both places. My motivation is my kids and my husband. Um, my husband is 25 years older than me. He's 78 years old. So I mean, he's getting along better than I am, but but he is 78. So and I have 7 kids at home. So I wouldn't want to leave here my husband. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to leave here before
Mhm.
him with all of them and their different attitudes, personalities. Them being them. But that's my why. That's my why, and that's my
That's
motivation.
that's a beautiful why.
Yeah,
Mhm.
stay healthy.
I think for me, my motivation has just been I've been unwell for too long. It affected who I was. I remember saying on Downsizing Diva when she interviewed me that there was a time that I thought I was surplus because my family could have got so much more out of me if I just wasn't here anymore with the will and things like that. And now I don't feel that way, which is great. And my family clearly never thought that way, but you know yourself, don't you? Know yourself that you just want to be able to do your bit for family, and now I could do my bit, doing it a whole different way, and that's my why.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I know when I first started watching your channel, like how you were talking about, like, kind of you were almost at the point of desperation, right? Like it
Yeah,
was, yeah. And for me, that was a lot of it too. Like I just kind of woke up at beginning of July of 2025, and I can't do this anymore. Like if I'm gonna live, I gotta live and stop waiting for that knight on a white horse to come save me, right?
yeah. Dr.
Right?
Knight,
Like,
Dr. White
yeah.
Knight.
Like,
Right.
yeah, I was just waiting for the easy button because I I've had such a rough go of it in life that I really needed the easy button, but I finally had to realize like that it doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
Like it doesn't matter how much I need it or deserve it or want it. I had to make the decision like you, Joe, like you just have to do it.
Mm.
You just yeah. You just have to start doing the thing and little by little you get there.
that's right.
But you girl, you are zooming. You are zooming out the door. You're like going 84 miles an hour.
I mean, like them little dogs that go and do the
Yeah.
zoomers.
Yeah.
And you know, Joe, just moving around your house, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's the exercise. You're
Yeah.
just moving around.
Mhm.
They said
Mhm.
when those first weeks, I couldn't walk around the house very well. Really struggling. And now look at me. Now look at me. I'm getting up to get my hula hoop. The Harjarene
Mhm.
bought me my weighted hula
Popping
hoop.
up, just getting up.
Do my
Well,
different bats.
I saw you when you fixed your doorknob, and then next thing I know, like you're outside sitting outside at a
Yes, she was.
table, and then you're talking about going out and get fish and chips, and I'm like, look at her, like, you know, like you said, like you couldn't get up and move, and now you're running around the neighborhood,
Right, right,
Me and
right.
Sir
talking to
Michael.
all the men on the street as they're walking by.
Can you help me? Can you help me for a minute? I'm like, wow.
I know that's a good one to go back and
When I'm
rewatch.
scared to death.
You definitely got to go watch that one, Jen.
Oh no, I did. It was absolutely brilliant. It made me miss living in kind of that sort of city center type situation and stuff. And it's just so like that's why I can't. I'm so looking forward when you're just going to be walking around Nottingham because I just it's going to be so much fun watching you just spend the day in Nottingham with Joe. Like, it's going to be good.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to start going on walks and doing lives as you're walking, please. Can
Oh
you?
my, oh my.
You will.
Remember,
You
I
will.
have problems with my coordination still.
Oh, girl, you
You
should
will.
see my travel videos. I'm walking and my camera's like rocking back and forth because I walk like a penguin.
I love that one though, where you was walking through the boat. You was walking all the way
Yeah.
through the boat. How many steps did you do in the end?
I 10,000, I think that first day.
Oh,
Wow.
that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
did
yeah,
3.59 miles.
wow,
Oh, wow.
crazy.
Have you had
Yeah,
how
Amy,
many?
we'll have to talk cruises at some point. So yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah, I've been commenting in the chat with my other channel. It's
Uh,
at if you seek Amy K. So yeah, so you'll see my avatar there. Since I'm using my iPad to do my commenting because I'm on the camera on my phone and I can't see
Right.
that it's so small.
Right. Well, there's one that Miss Nikki, and I think it's a good question to go over it towards as we sort of wrap up because I do want to honor everyone's time. 'Cause I know, our very own Traces of Tuan is going to be on the anchor moments later, and so give people time to get up and move if you've been kind of just hanging out with us, drink some water, have some dinner, and get some family time in. But for Miss Nikki did have a question. If each of y'all could just kind of share, top, your
Mhm,
primary symptoms. Oh, let's see. I think I just dropped my channel. But Miss Nikki has asked. They go into more detail earlier in the replay, so definitely catch the replay. But if y'all can kind of just go over what symptoms led you to find out you have sleep apnea, if we can just start
mhm,
Amy,
mhm.
Harjarene, and then Joe.
okay.
Yeah, so mine was elevated blood pressure, tachycardia, meaning my heart rate was like at 140 or above beats per minute for continuous levels. And yeah, just that really, those two things really kicked it off because they sent me to the emergency room. So that just kind of started the cycle and snoring, snoring really badly.
I didn't think I had any symptoms. I mean, my husband told me that I was snore. And I was going to tell y'all too. Well, like you said, Joe, at one point you thought you weren't going to make it. I used to think of myself choking to death. And I'm wondering if that was from the sleep apnea.
Yeah.
Because I would wake up coughing in the night. What I
Mhm.
would do.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I always said, I think I'm going to end up choking to death. Before I even found out that I had sleep apnea, that's what I was saying. If I leave up out of here, it's going to be because I choked to death, in my sleep.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Because I would always feel like I'm choking. But other than that, I didn't think I had any symptoms for sleep apnea. Everybody snores. It doesn't mean you have sleep apnea because you snore. But
True.
but I did end up having severe sleep apnea.
And as you were saying, if you were having that nightmare, that would have been exactly what Amy was saying to me before with my sister. It's a nightmare of your body trying to get you to wake up because it knows you're choking.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think I had exactly the same sort of symptoms, but also had really bad cotton mouth, as Darian called it. Sorry to see, Darian. And the other one was I was really struggling to not breathe, but I was always just had a constant cough. I was always coughing, and then got to the stage that I couldn't get through a sentence without coughing. And that was because the breathing was just so bad throughout the night. I barely got any oxygen in me, which was having all sorts of issues for my body.
Yeah. When I got tested, my breathing was at 70. Was below 70.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You say, I think anyone who's suffering anything like that, don't think sleep apnea first, but just speak to your doctors and see if they could give you, even if there's that test where it asks you to tell them how sleepy you are. You could do a handwritten test or on an app or something where I can't remember the name of the test, but it asks you about how many times you fall asleep when you're watching TV, how many times. I used to fall asleep when I was cooking, but thankfully I had everything on a timer. But yeah, I'd wake up like 3 hours later and my dinner was cold because they'd been cooked and then it'd gone cold. But there's those sort of things where it's like, yes, now when I think about it, that's a sleep problem, isn't it? It's not a breathing problem, it's a sleep problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. In the United States, they actually can do in-home sleep studies now. Or
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of healthcare companies that require that first instead of going to the doctor's office to sleep overnight at the office.
I went
So
overnight
yeah,
and that was weird by itself.
hmm
Like
yeah,
I'm
I've
in the
done like five of them in the office. So
mm-hmm.
always so uncomfortable.
Yeah, very.
And my husband's going for a sleep study in October. And it'll be interesting to see because it could be one thing, it could be a variety of things going on with him. So,
Hmm
but he's a proper 80s babies, and so by the time he could think, he had every device on in the world, and he was also the generation of give them with ADHD, give them a pill to solve for X, and it's like what do you think is going to happen to them as they become an adult?
Yeah.
It's like sleep is going to be the least of their problems, or the ability to sleep, right?
Can I add on that point then? There was something my
Yeah.
rheumatology consultant told me, because I mentioned I had the sleep problem with the sleep back in 2022, but nothing was done about it until 2024, but that's another point. But she said, you've really got to work on your sleep hygiene. So that's, like what you were saying there about the devices. Amy has all her devices turned off, things like blue light, daylight for the circadian rhythm. Is that what they call it? The circadian rhythm?
Yes.
Yeah.
Things like, as you say, find a way to get your mind into the idea of I'm going to be going to sleep at some point, for the sleep hygiene of it all. Rather than, as you say, you're just constantly on hyper. Because it might be that you haven't got sleep apnea. It might be that your brain is just always ready to go.
Right. And that's what he's doing, the one that's not only is it overnight, they go into the next day to kind of get him to take naps and stuff because they want to see what is apparently, yeah, it's a pretty intense study because anything that is sleep related or respiratory, all the things they're gonna test for. So
Okay.
That's As you say, at least they're being
That'll be
thorough, which
interesting.
is a very good thing.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I think it's going to change. Once they get a diagnosis and a treatment, it's going to change his life. And I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to what
yeah.
that reality will be. So, as we wrap up the evening, because again, I know, Tuan, if you're still on, if you want to put the time in Eastern Standard Time, what time your interview with Anchor Moments is, feel free to, if you want to put that into the chat. I want to say it's 8 Eastern, but I'm in Central Time, so I don't know if my timing's off, and I don't want to get it wrong. But Traces of Tuan is going to be on the Anchor Moments, and so definitely catch that if you're able to.
Okay.
And but as we wrap up, where do I want to go? Well, what question? I think I always like ending with one of those. If you could describe with one word whether the first time you had a full night of a rest, what you would consider a restful sleep, what that next day felt like, but what in one word can you describe what when you get a restful sleep, what that feels like?
Eye-opening.
Literally.
Energetic. Yeah.
Eye-opening because I didn't know what getting a full night's sleep felt like. And so to feel normal, like, oh, this is what people get, right? So eye-opening.
Energetic.
Great words. Great words. Mind revitalized.
Hmm.
Revitalized. Fabulous. I'm just looking.
And I
Did you
see.
see the last message from RMC about his dad?
Oh, did I miss that? Hold on, because I want to catch it. I was constantly feeling. I see the drive. Oh, yeah. Oh,
So that's what it's really so important for everyone who's having any sort of sleep issues to just go and check it out, because as you say, you
yeah.
don't want to be driving your car, falling asleep and then flipping your car
Hmm.
like Charles's dad had done. I hope he was okay, Charles.
Yeah, I hope he was okay. And get the. And I know, we sometimes take. Oh, we
Where's she
lost our
gone?
dream. Hopefully she'll come back. No, she's come back. But if you are able to have insurance and there's coverage for things, get to those appointments. And if you don't,
Hmm.
find ways to get all the things checked out, especially preventative care, things of that nature. Don't sleep on stuff like preventative care. Get it checked out. It's so important. So important. So I know Harjarene, I don't know if we should kind of hang out a little bit for her. But I do want to thank everyone for joining. Joe, were you going to say something? I saw you were about to say something.
No, I was going to do exactly what you're doing now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and each of y'all do it. And actually, I'll throw it over to Joe and Amy. Y'all kind of, y'all sort of wrap us up, and then again, everybody around. I think it's gonna be 8 o'clock Eastern, but definitely go check out. Basically, go to your notification tab and see what time it is for you. Check out Traces of Tuan on the Anchor Moments. But Amy and Joe, if y'all want to kind of just wrap things up for us and say any last words.
Yeah. For those of you who didn't start at the beginning, I'll just kind of do a quick snippet. I'm Amy from Amy Loses It. I have 180 pounds to lose, and I have 150 pounds left of that. I am a lifelong sleep apnea sufferer, and I encourage everybody, if they're having sleep issues, to make sure you get checked out for that. And if you're interested in travel, make sure you check out my channel at if you seek Amy K, and it's linked in my channel. So if you go to the at Amy Loses It, you'll see the link for that. So that's all about cruising. And yeah, I just really enjoy my time, and I'm so glad that Joe invited me. I love her channel, so I encourage everybody to watch her and just subscribe to everybody else that was on the live. And I can't wait to get to know them. And I really thank you for allowing me to join you. It's been fabulous. And
We're so
if you
glad you
have anybody,
came.
thank you. And if anybody has any other questions for me after the live, just leave them in the comment on my channel, and I'll make sure I get back to you.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I'd like to say for you guys that are on the live at the moment. You've been amazing in the comments. You've been absolutely amazing. Some of the great things you've been sharing, and the openness and transparency. That's what I love about this community. We're happy to share because we know it's going to make a difference for somebody, and that's exactly how Amy came to me. She was, because I was having an issue one day on my channel in my vlog, and she was right. This is what you should try and do, because this is how I solved that with my sleep apnea. So again, I think it's so wonderful that we are such a warm and welcoming group and a community. I'm loving all of the things that are happening now on Calamity's channel, with the chickens. Harjarene's back. Did you guys know that Harjarene did 6.9 miles? Was it today?
6.45.
6.45 miles. I'm walking today.
Yay.
It's phenomenal. No wonder she keeps saying she's energetic. She's feeling the energy. So by all means, please check out everyone's channels. And I know that many of you that have been on in the chat, you are content creators. If you could put in, if you do a purple heart right now, so no Twan's on, do a purple heart right now if you've not already shared your links, and we will make sure that we subscribe to all of your channels. It's been lovely. It's lovely seeing you all. I think Calamity's done a fabulous job today as the MC, the hour for these 2 hours of power. So very well done, Calamity. Everyone throw some confetti, some hearts up for Calamity.
Yay.
Yay! And as I say,
Yay.
it's been so wonderful to have Harjarene in the chat. Harjarene looking the boss way. Oh, here we go. Here's some confetti. So Harjarene at Dubas Way, she's doing some amazing things on her channel as well. Please subscribe to Harjarene's channel. And Amy, please, everyone, subscribe to Amy's channel. Watch the cruise. For those of you with the cruising set, I'm not sure if I've seen Vicky yet, but she will be here on the replay. Go and check out Amy's channel. What was it again, Amy, your second channel?
It's at the @ symbol. If you seek Amy K.
Okay.
Wonderful. But yeah, that's all I'd like to say. Thank you, folks. Thank you, folks.
Thank you. We hope to continue to do these behind the scenes. We have a couple of different, I know in October, mark your calendar for October 13th especially. We're going to be doing one on HbA1c, so diabetes management, type 1, type 2, and all the types in between. There's now a type 5 diabetes. And so that's going to be October 13th. And then we have a couple of other different ideas. We want to talk about things like hobbies. You know, what's life in maintenance, and start those hobbies and things to keep you interested in life now, because they're going to matter the most once you hit maintenance. So we're going to have conversations around the different crafting and things that we do. And I don't know, maybe we'll get some sneak peeks at how to with some of the crafting. We don't know yet. We don't know, because we're still thinking about it. So stay tuned for more of the behind the scenes. We love each and every one of you. Y'all are dear to us. And if you're interested in participating in any of the things, definitely let us know as well. So have a good evening. Get ready for Twan and Anchor Moments later tonight. Get some steps in, get some water in, and have a good, depending on what your next meal or snack is, make it good, and make it, make sure that it brings joy to your journey. So with that, we'll call it an evening. Thank you all.
Are we still live?